Hey, this is JR, the expat in Saigon. This is episode 2 in our series called Freedom, USA versus Vietnam. And today we're going to talk about a subject that has affected a lot of people over the years, and that's drinking and driving. In the USA and Vietnam, drinking and driving, or DWI, DUI, whatever they want to call it, it's illegal. In the USA, there's no single law that determines what is illegal, what isn't illegal. There's 50 different states and 50 different jurisdictions. And even different cities have different regulations. So it can be a real problem trying to figure out exactly what the law is. The federal government does determine about things about alcohol production and distribution, things like that. But basically, your drinking and driving penalties and things are state. In Vietnam, of course, they're federal. There's a big beer culture here in Vietnam. A lot of people like to get out in the afternoons after work and drink beer. It caused a real rise in traffic accidents to the point that it became like the second leading cause of death in Vietnam. It's really awful. So many accidents and so many deaths that are actually alcohol related. So Vietnam took the initiative to put in force new laws in January of 2020 that are way stricter than they were in the past. So today we'll discuss that new law and compare it to what goes on in the USA. In the state that I'm most familiar with, Texas. In Vietnam now, the allowable amount of alcohol in your system is zero. It's zero tolerance, none allowed. So if you drink even one beer and get on your motorbike or get in your car, hey, you're subject to arrest. This new law applies to automobiles, trucks, and motorbikes. Even bicycles are covered by the new law. This law was really put in place because of Vietnam's beer drinking culture. I think it was like 40% or so of all the accidents and fatalities on the highway are alcohol related. I will tell you one thing, the new law is not ambiguous. Zero is zero. Sometimes the laws in Texas, which allows 0.08% blood alcohol level, becomes an issue for arguments in courts. Defendants contest the accuracy of the tests, when they were taken, and try to bring up other issues to get off the hook. In the U.S. and in Texas, advertising for alcohol beverages is highly restricted. Vietnam's new law also restricts advertising on buses and things like that, near schools. It's pretty similar to what we have in the USA. The new law also bans sales to minors. Before 2020, you could send your kids to the store to pick up a beer for you or a bottle of wine or something, but now you can't do that. You've got to be 18 to buy the liquor. I've never seen an ID check here. The penalties in Texas and in the USA generally are pretty severe for drunk driving. Legal fees are high, can run thousands of dollars, and the cost of a first-time DWI could be $5,000 or $10,000 easily. In Texas, the penalties for a first-time conviction, a Class B misdemeanor, carry a fine up to $2,000 and up to 180 days in jail. If the blood alcohol level is 0.15 or higher, the offense is a Class A misdemeanor and carries a $4,000 fine and up to a year in jail. The second offense is also a Class A misdemeanor and carries a fine of $4,000 and a year in jail. A third becomes a felony. The maximum fine's up to $10,000 and carries a penitentiary term of up to 10 years. Of course, if you're involved in an accident that involves alcohol, basically you're screwed. So that's that's a real no-no. That's a no-no here too, though. If you wind up having a driver's license after all of this, there's also a $2,000 a year renewal fee for your driver's license. It's an administrative penalty. Overall, the penalties in the U.S. and in Texas are pretty huge. They can ruin your life, they can cost you your job, your family, run up high legal bills. It's a mess. It's really awful. In Vietnam, the fines are much less severe, although by Vietnam standards, they're pretty costly. A DWI can cost up to about 8 million Vietnam dong, which is $345, or about $1,725 if it's an automobile or a truck. License suspension up to 2 years can also be imposed as a penalty. During my research for this show, I couldn't find where DWI in Vietnam would result in jail time. If you're involved in an accident while you're drinking, you injure somebody or you kill somebody, I'm sure that jail time could result for that because it involves other laws that are in place here. I'm no expert in these laws, but the difference here is pretty clear. The USA and my state have laws that far exceed those of Vietnam. However, the new laws in Vietnam have affected business here and had a real obvious effect. Bar and restaurant owners have significant drops in revenue, and beer sales are down. Beer sales were down about 20%, and some of the restaurants have seen sales drop as much as 80%. But there also is a positive effect, and that's the drop of accidents and fatalities in Vietnam since the new law was put in place. So the new stricter laws are working. Vietnam still has more freedom for drinkers than most places in the USA. Drinking in public is not prohibited, and buying liquor and beer is much easier than in the USA. So if you think that drinking alcohol is right, then this is a pretty clear difference in the controls in place in these two countries. Both countries have laws, but there's a clear difference in how they are treated. You don't see organizations like MAD, Mothers Against Drunk Driving, pushing regulations and laws here in Vietnam. You can see where the number of accidents and fatalities have pushed the government into making new laws that are a lot stricter than the old ones. It's a positive response by the government. This is the expat in Saigon. Wherever you are, stay safe. Don't drink and drive. It's not a good thing. If you're a foreigner here in Vietnam, make sure you have a great time here. Enjoy the country and don't make the mistake of a run-in with the police. It's no fun. It's no fun in the USA either. So try to stay out of the trouble. If you're enjoying this series, please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any of the episodes. Got another one coming up next week. This is JR, the expat in Saigon, saying thank y'all for watching.